it's Jeff, and in today's video we're going to go over how to adjust the reverse gate so that you can try to find a happy medium between the neutral position and having your buckets clear the jet thrust. So here we go. Okay guys, so with trying to find neutral, it's a little bit of a process, and I just wanted to go over that with you. So this drive right here, the boat's in the neutral position on the lever, and this one, it's in the forward position with the bucket open. What you're trying to do is you're trying to find a medium between this gate being down and also being able to clear the nozzle. This right here is 30 millimeters. This is what Yamaha recommends the factory gate be adjusted to. And as you can see, mine sits up higher. What I have found with my boat, now this could be because maybe my cables are stretched, who knows, but when I adjust both buckets to where that is touching this bolt right here, so it would be lower on both of them, I have a perfect neutral. That means the boat doesn't creep forward, it doesn't creep back, it just stays where it is, perfectly calm water. The downside to it on my boat is when I go to put the boat in gear or put it in the forward position, my buckets will not clear this nozzle. They hang down quite a bit lower, and the result of that, the problem from that is, number one, I lose about 4 or 5 mile an hour, it feels like, off my top end, so about 45 versus 50. The other thing is the excessive jet wash. You can physically see it from behind the boat. It gets pushed up through this opening here in the deflector, and of course then it shoots up against this area right here. And I can also feel it in the steering wheel. It feels like the boat pulls to the left. These do not have to be equal the same. They don't have to be exactly the same, different. Like this one doesn't have to have a measurement of 41 and this one has to be 41. You know, you need to pretty much set them to what works. And I just really wanted to go over that. So what I have been doing is I took mine off the 30 millimeters and I raised them up. And now that I've noticed my boat creeps forward, it creeps forward pretty good. And it's kind of a little annoying at this point because I know that I can get it to hold. So what I've been doing is every time I go out, I've been dropping these buckets down a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a couple millimeters at a time. And right now, as this video is being made, I think I'm at 41 millimeters. And we're going to see what that does. I'm going to assume that I will not probably be able to get to my neutral without these buckets dragging in the jet wash. And eventually the next step will be is to replace these cables. I'm assuming these cables have stretched since 08, the year's 2020. I think that's probably the biggest problem that I have, is it's probably due to my cables, but this is what I have and this is what I'm working with. So the first step is to just identify that your thrust coming out, your buckets are high enough to clear it. That is the biggest thing, is that your thrust is being cleared for performance. And then from there, you just start lowering it down and lowering it down and lowering it down. I just wanted to go over that and make sure that I'm saying that right, and hopefully everybody understands. If you have any questions, by all means, throw them in the comments section. How we make these adjustments. There are a couple tools that you're going to need. You're going to need an 8 millimeter open end wrench. Recommend a vice grip. If this is your first time doing it, who knows if they've ever even been adjusted. Micrometer makes things really nice, and that way you can use that to measure the distance. Now, what everybody wants to know, the first thing, now how do we adjust this? We adjust this very simply. What you have to do is you have to take this little 8 millimeter nut and you have to loosen this. And to loosen this, you just take it and get it on there and loosen it. If it's never been loosened before, the reason that we use the vice grips is we clamp onto the vice grips right here on this metal rod softly, and that way we can hold this rod instead of twisting this whole cable assembly. We can clamp onto this, and then we use our wrench to back this off. Once you loosen it, I would go ahead and spin it back up to where it's just flush up against this little barrel adjuster with the spring. And that'll keep everything somewhat set. To make the adjustment, what you're gonna do is, it's gonna be hard to see, you're gonna come in and you're gonna take the end of this where my thumb is, and you're going to squeeze it in. I'll show you on video is you take this and you almost gotta get your fingernail on the edge of this thing and you squeeze that. And what that does is it allows the ball to pop out. And what ball I'm talking about that right there. And that's it. So you can do this like at the lake. Probably be a pain in the ass, but you could definitely do it. And so now what I'm going to do on mine, since mine has just a little bit too much forward thrust, and I think I still have some room, to bring this down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this out. Just a couple of turns, and that's it. So now that I've ran that out a couple of turns, I'm gonna run my screw back in, and then we'll get this pushed on. I can tell you, on my boat, one rotation is about 1 to 2 millimeters worth of travel on this thing, right here. So about 1 to 2 millimeters is what I get out of a rotation from this. And that's how you adjust it. And then of course, you got it where you want it. Again, this thing goes back on, and I'll do that real quick. Alrighty. And then we went ahead and we popped it on, and then we're gonna take our nut here, and then we're going to snug it down just like that. Now once we've done that, what we can do is we can take a micrometer. You can get these from Harbor Freight. Obviously I'd say get a good one, but what we can do is we can measure the distance, and it's very simple. Just guess, like right here to right here. That's where Yamaha recommends you make your measurement. We're gonna measure both, see if they're close, and go from there. .4170. .4168. That's pretty fair. And now what we need to do is we need to check the operation. So they look good in neutral. What we're gonna do is we're gonna open these buckets up and see if we're clearing the nozzle here. So hang on one second. Okay, so both buckets are up. Now, that is totally clearing that lip right there. That looks good. This one looks like it's totally clearing it too as well. Another thing to point out, and I'm gonna show you with my level here. It's gonna be hard to tell on camera, but right here, this nozzle portion right here, it actually dips, is like a little bump in the top. So the spray doesn't actually come out on this very trailing edge. It's actually just a little bit below. And I'm gonna try to illustrate this with that. So that's kind of how the spray comes out. So as you can see, I would say I actually got quite a bit of room left to lower this gate. I could go down just a little bit more where it's not gathering. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check reverse. We're gonna make sure that the bucket's coming all the way down to direct the wash backwards. So let's check that. Alrighty, so both buckets are in reverse. Everything is completely closed, which means it's now directing it. It is now directing everything through that nozzle underneath. Looks good. Bada bing, bada boom. Alrighty, so we've done all of our checks. Everything looks good so far. The last thing is to just go out and test it and see how it works. Again, get behind it, hang a GoPro off the swim platform so you can see. And again, your main goal is making sure that the bucket is not interfering with the jet wash coming out when you're underway. And then you just keep dropping and dropping and dropping this, in my opinion, until you can get them as low as you can. And that'll hopefully get to a neutral position that you like. And that's it. So thank you. Please subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye.